there any requests?
Housing units and a 100-room hotel, all ingressing and egressing at the traffic light by Adams. Can you imagine the traffic snarls we'll have to endure? Last night around 5 p.m., I drove from Adams to Aldi, and it took me over 15 minutes. All I could think about was how much worse this would be with 600 or so more cars on the road. And we will be increasing traffic while removing a large area of trees, exactly the opposite of what we should be doing. I have to change this last paragraph, given the discussion that just took place. I understand that the approval is first for the hotel because they've been previously approved, but we still would like for you to consider and study the cumulative impact for all three of these projects. So I was going to ask you to vote no on the site plan extension. I want to amend that because we know that they have first right. So, but just please study all of this together, because the three of them together will have a great impact on that area of town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eileen Murphy. I reside at 114 Quail Drive in the town of Ulster. Traffic is on the radar locally and nationally. Though the town of Ulster population is stagnant. In 2020, there were 12,665 citizens. In 2024, there are reportedly 12,638 citizens. Though our population has remained the same over the last 4 years, the traffic-related complaints reported to our town of Ulster Police Department has more than doubled. In 2020, of the 83 categories of 911 calls, both in 2020 and 2024, traffic-related calls more than doubled, being the second highest. Per the Ulster Police Incident Report breakdown, in 2020, there were 1,578 traffic-related calls to Ulster Town Police. In 2024, there were 3,855 traffic-related calls. The population has not changed, but requests to develop has and continues. The residents of Quail Drive have been prescient in their position to alert the town board that traffic has been on our radar since 2014. We now point to development by Adams, 100 hotel rooms and a community housing development squeezed into a small circle. Many are concerned. If they weren't, a traffic study by DOT with Town of Ulster would not have been requested. I have read it, and it is extensive. In closing, traffic is also on the radar nationally, as the New York Times recently reported on 12/23/23, just a year ago, that 7,300 pedestrians were killed in traffic accidents. My mention of the police report form places attention on the impact additional development in already dense areas will be on the radar of our police chief and his 24 officers, already responding to 3,855 traffic-related calls, as well as the remaining 10,391 calls in 2024. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
may I wish you all a happy holiday.
Thank you. Any additional comments from members of the audience here tonight? Sir?
Hello. Can you hear me all right? Yeah, that's good. My name is Jonathan Clark. I'm a resident of the town of Esopus, just outside of Kingston, but I'm also an attorney with Scenic Hudson. We are a land trust and environmental advocacy organization active throughout the Hudson Valley. And I just wanted to offer a couple of brief early comments on the proposed Titan Bridge solar development. First off, I would like to sincerely thank the town board for taking the initial steps to thoroughly review this project, including designating this as a type 1 action under SECRA. I think that is exactly what you want to be doing when you have a project like this in front of you that really has the potential for these significant impacts to the town's character and its ecological resources. Second, it is also my understanding that there is currently a proposal to construct a 298 unit luxury housing development on land directly south of this proposed solar facility. I would like to take this opportunity to urge the town board to keep the cumulative impacts of these two projects in focus throughout the review process. Now, both of these projects individually would be sacrificing a significant amount of ridgeline forest. But when you look at these two together and you increase that acreage further, all the impacts that you're expecting to the town's character, to your ecological resources, to your aesthetic resources, all of them increase proportionally. So to really get an accurate picture of the impacts that you're dealing with, it is essential that you keep that cumulative impact in focus as well as the individual impacts. Finally, I would again like to thank the town for taking steps to both promote renewable energy development and housing creation. In the Hudson Valley, we are, of course, facing both a climate crisis and a housing crisis. However, and at the risk of adding to the parade of horribles here, we are also facing a biodiversity crisis. We are losing open space. We are losing wildlife. We are losing healthy ecosystem function. So that absolutely needs to be part of the calculation as well when you're reviewing this. So again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to participating in this process as it continues moving forward.
Thank you. Any additional comments?
Hi, my name is Mary Jo Frederich and I live on Glen Boulevard. During the last meeting, I had mentioned that it would be nice if we could bring all these projects together and take a look at what's going on with the development. And I was pointed to a 2007 document, which was a vision, and I've not read all 124 pages. However, I did look at the executive overview, and I just want to point out a couple of things that are in there right off the bat. And one relates directly to these developments because there's a whole section on protecting the ridge lines from inappropriate development. So I do think it's probably worth, I know it's an old document, but it's probably worth taking a look at it, especially as we hear about these projects all coming into the environment at the same time. That one is well worth it. There's also a goal about protecting and preserving historic resources. And there is that building. I know there's a debate about how old that building is, but I do think that's another point that we should keep in mind. And this doesn't relate to the development, but it relates back to the Lower Sopus Stream Management Project. In that vision statement from 2007, under natural resource protection, the creating the riparian protection zones is listed. And as you know, that was one of the 3 key items for the Glen Eyrie Lake Park Improvement Association. So that was all my comments. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Any additional comments? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight in our package, we have the minutes from the November 5th and November 19th town board meetings. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Communications, Ms. Reeve? Would somebody write her a letter, please? Mr. Van Cleek, would you like to take?
My trombone, and then I'll speak. We have first we have the comptroller's abstract of claims and payments, going through it and reviewing it. Everything looks fine. I think the thing we ought to note is that there's more columns now because they're doing more wire payments, which is more efficient and appears to be working out well. And vendors appreciate the more timely payments. So the abstract she presented to us was for $2,669,216.44. So I make a motion, we receive this.
I'll take that motion.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? I would like to point out one thing. December is the month we write one of the biggest checks of the year. And this year, the check was almost $1.3 million. It went to the New York State Pension Fund for the pension payments on behalf of our town employees. And that is why the expenditures in December are so large. So with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Van Cleek on budget transfers.
Yep. Our comptroller presented us with the budget transfers, understanding there will be one more in January and could even be beyond that, but one more in January. So right now, the budget transfers were shown and they totaled $374,165.92. We also had the second page with some modifications. So did everyone receive those?
Yes.
Like they all look fine to me, so I'll make the motion to be accepted.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on to new business. The first item is the presentation and acceptance of the town clerk's monthly report for the month of November. Ms. Reeve, is there anything you'd like to call to the town board's attention? Thank you. May I have a motion to accept the town clerk's report as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the presentation of the revised 2025 fee schedule. This is published on the town's website. It will be adopted at the organizational meeting in January, the first Thursday, which I believe is the 2nd. And there's no action required to be taken tonight by the town board. The next item is a motion, or I'm sorry, presentation of a resolution adopting the town fee schedule. This will be taken up at the organizational meeting on January 2nd, adopting the fee schedule. The next item comes about from a review of the vehicles on the town's insurance policy. We discovered two vehicles that, after discussion with the sewer superintendent, he felt he could declare surplus, and he's asking the board to authorize the sale of those vehicles so they can be removed from the town's insurance policy.
Make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Chief Berardi, the next three items are yours.
Good evening, Town Board. These three agreements are for services in the for the upcoming year with Emergency One, EAP and substance abuse, drug screening and police officer candidate physicals. So I'm just asking for permission to sign these agreements for 2025.
Could you take a brief 2 minutes and describe the EAP that we offer our employees? Because it is a very valuable resource.
Every employee has services or has the ability to have services from Emergency One for employee assistance, mental health type services, drug abuse or substance abuse, should they have anything. No questions asked. It's not reported to me. Obviously, it's anonymous, and those services are open to all our employees. The drug screening part of our PBA agreement, as well as the management, myself and the lieutenant also are in the roster, is random drug screening every month. So we get called, whoever gets called, name is in a lottery, that member goes, attends, and the results are sent to me. Third is police officer candidate physical. Within the last couple of years, DCGS has made it mandatory that all police officers are required to have a physical. Prior to this, it was only full-time members, and that was taken care of through Ulster County Civil Service. So now, prior to hiring, every candidate has to be submitted for a physical.
Thank you. So we've had an explanation. May I have a motion to authorize Chief Berardi to sign the agreements?
Second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, recently the city of Kingston acquired a parcel in the city of Kingston that extends into the town of Ulster at the end of Chapel Street in the Wilbur section of the city for dedication as a park. The mayor has written the town board a letter requesting that the town board authorize the removal of the parcels that the city acquired in the town of Ulster from the tax rolls, making them tax exempt forever. The sum total of the taxes paid last year were $112. Now, I wish to remind you, there is a special district tax in this vicinity related to the Eddyville Fire Protection District. That tax will be continued to be paid. I would venture to say that if the general tax was $112, that tax is probably in the $30 range. So the city will continue to pay for fire protection, but probably not use it. So may I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item comes about from wrapping up the town's ARPA funding program. In 2021 and 2022, the town received approximately $1.2 million in federal funding that was used for infrastructure projects. During the course of the projects, we kept the money invested, and the money earned approximately $68,000 in interest over those 2 years. This resolution dedicates this money, or asks the town board to authorize the transfer of this money to the Ulster Water District Small South Tower Capital Project, further deferring costs to the water district that will not be a burden on the taxpayers in in the Ulster Water District. So with that, I'd like a motion to accept the resolution as presented. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The next item is a resolution declaring seeker lead agency by the town board to schedule a public hearing for Thursday, January 16th, 2025 at 7:10 PM and authorizing the application and submittal materials to be forwarded to the Ulster County Planning Board. I just want to stress that based upon the comments here tonight, this is not an approval to proceed with the project. It is approval to proceed with the study of the impacts of the project, both at the town level and the county level. And that is what we are undertaking here tonight. So with that, I would ask for a motion to accept the resolution as presented. Is there a need to have a roll call vote on this one? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ulster County committed $2 million to the town of Ulster for the extension of the water and sewer lines from the Washington Avenue and Cherry Hill water sewer districts to the Quality Inn on Route 28 for the purposes of assisting RUPCO in converting the motel into a transitional housing facility. Involved in that project was the construction of the water and sewer lines. The water lines have been completed. The sewer lines are under construction, but they are on lands owned by RUPCO. RUPCO is providing the town of Ulster with easements to maintain those lines. This resolution authorizes the towns to accept the grant of the easements for no consideration from RUPCO. May I have a motion on this resolution? Okay, I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Then now, moving on to old business. The first item is a motion to authorize the payment of payment application number 2 in the amount of $64,841.01 to J&J SAS Electric for contract 246, the installation of site lighting improvements at the Orlando Street Ball Field. This is being funded with a $100,000 grant from Ulster County and a commitment from the town's general fund of $100,000. The project is coming in under budget, so it's going to be around the 200,000. It will not go, it should not go over. And we will be reimbursed for 50% of the actual cost upon submission to the Ulster County ARPA office. So may I have a motion to authorize the payment? Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. During our pre-meeting review of the agenda, I misspoke. The agenda is in fact correct with the words change order in those 2 locations and not payment. Ms. Sweeney caught my mistake and provided me documents to back it up. The first item is a change order reflecting the addition of the site water lines authorized by Ulster County to benefit RUPCO that would serve the rear of the property and relieve RUPCO of the requirement to spend $172,000 of project money in putting water lines in. So may I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the change order number 2 to contract? Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the change order. The change order essentially closes out the contract. In the original contract, there was an unidentified cost line item that had a $20,000, I believe it was $20,000 value established to it, and that was partially consumed. And the contract value gets restated downward to reflect the fact that the item was not fully consumed, as well as a change in the quantities of water pipe that was installed at the site. So may I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign change order number 3? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. The next item is the motion to authorize the payment, application number 3 in the amount of $172,015. This is for the work done under change order number 2, which was an increase in quantities. So may I have a motion to authorize the payment? Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. The next item is a motion to authorize the payment of payment application number 4. During the course of the project, the town retains a percentage of the payment to ensure completion of the project. Upon completion of the project, these monies are released to the contractor. This payment is a payment of retainage. So I would like a motion to authorize the payment of payment application number 4 in the amount of $23,504.30.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to authorize the payment of payment application number 3 in the amount of $81,462.50 to Harold Construction for contract TU 233. This is for the construction of a 450,000 gallon potable water storage tank in the Ulster Water District. This has been funded through a combination of county money through their ARPA allocation of $500,000, an appropriation of town of Ulster ARPA money of, I believe it was $260,000 at the last meeting, and furthermore, an allocation of $67,000 of the interest at this meeting. The balance between the final costs and those funds will be paid out of the capital reserve account of the Ulster Water District. So may I have a motion to authorize the payment?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Van Cleek, would you like to lead the next item?
We have a resolution before us about to authorize the town board and to authorize 2 of our members of the town board to negotiate an agreement with both a provider of ambulance services to secure ambulance services and also to work with the town of Kingston to solidify their agreement with us. Mary Ann and Rocco have agreed to fill in the blanks here to be the 2 board members on that. Anna will contribute because she has experience with that. And then I was involved in the early stages of this. So I think this will show a full board buy-in if everyone's involved like this. So I'd like to make the motion that this resolution with the addition of the names of Council Member Mary Ann DeGroot and Council Member Rocco Secreto are hereby tasked with the negotiating and with the soliciting of proposals. We would, so with that motion, the other thing we did ask was that we'd be a representative from the fire department, from the police department. And I think we had Jason, we do say in this resolution that our attorney would be involved also.
So Kyle, with that being said, I can talk out loud. Kyle, I would appreciate, you don't have to come up. I would appreciate if you would think of someone for us so we can have Chief Hefner involved, as well as the representative from the police department. Who would you like to give us? And then that way, Mr. Kovacs, you as well. Then we'll all be united and we'll bring this out. Thank you.
So I'd like to make that motion for this resolution.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries for a resolution. Thank you.
May I just add one thing that
Please.
a couple of residents have, and I'm rightfully so misunderstood. They thought that we were establishing an ambulance squad. We are not doing that. We're working with a local ambulance company to be decided upon, that we will be supporting them and working with them on a financial basis to guarantee a minimum so that they will be available for us. This will be a guaranteed availability up to a certain level for us. So that's part of the negotiation. We are not buying ambulances. We are not putting on an ambulance crew. So
You're not training.
Thank you for the clarification for the benefit of our citizens who are concerned. The last item on our agenda, second from last item, is a resolution granting a one-year site plan extension for Ulster Hospitality Project 742, 1581 Ulster Avenue, Lake Katrine, SBL 39.82-2.7.117. It's zone OM. It's a resubmittal of a previously approved project for a 100-room hotel. This project has been bouncing around for 10 years. It was originally part of the proposal when the parcels were combined to prepare for a multi-use subdevelopment. The impacts of all the planned buildings, whether they exist today or they're still vacant land, were studied at the beginning of the project. And as I stated before, should this project obtain approval for an extension, their impacts are built into the base case of any future project that has to be studied in the vicinity of that project. So is there a need for a roll call here? Okay. May I have a motion to accept the resolution granting a one-year site plan extension?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The last item on our agenda. It's a resolution authorizing the building department to issue an RFP for the demolition of 338 Glenary Boulevard, section block and lot 39.11-4-11. I'd like to be clear that this is a request for proposals to identify costs related to meeting the terms and conditions of the judicial decree that was granted to the town of Ulster when we sued on this matter. We're going to ask Mr. Tutt to develop the proposal documents and solicit bids and present them back to the town board. And for everyone's edification, it normally takes about 30 to 45 days for this process to run. We have to develop the documents. We have to advertise and give a contractor between 2 and 3 weeks' time to develop his proposal. We then conduct a public bid opening, usually in the town clerk's office. And then where the bids are read out loud, they are recorded. The bids are then kept in a safe place in the town clerk's office. And then the results of that process will be presented to the town board for consideration at a future meeting.
is it realistic to, maybe Warren, you should address this. Okay, so and I'll ask my question so you can think while you're walking. Is it possible that we could say that we could, in the document, you've got blanks here about the dates. Could we try to make it for February to have this in so we can consider it February 6th, or you think we have to wait till the 20th to be able to consider it?
Well, my first question is, do I do an open advertisement to request bids? Do I contact contractors I have dealt with who have done work in the town in the past? That's part one. Part two is, to what extent do we want to proceed and how much of the property, basically how many of the buildings do we take down? There are 2 buildings that I have condemned. So obviously those come down. The other buildings I don't have access to. So to make a determination on whether they are viable buildings or not, can be done. I'll have to find a way to gain access to make that determination. So I'd like to know, the board as a whole, to what extent do I present to the contractors? Because that will obviously give us a better idea and the cost will go up or the cost will go down.
I think there's also another factor here in that these buildings are old.
Oh, yeah.
They probably have asbestos containing materials in it. There is probably lead paint on the exteriors. So we are now going to be dealing with an environmental inspection prior to demolition to meet the state codes.
So we
And-
can start with a cost for the, determination for a study. If it's found, then we have to get a remediation done. So there's multiple steps to it. Some of the contractors I know, including myself, we are familiar with the age, the ages of the buildings. We also know that buildings prior to a certain construction date, we have a feel for what materials, are more likely to have it. So if I gain access with these contractors, I'll be present when the contractors are on site to do their investigation, just so we're all clear on what we're proposing. I just wanted to get a feel for how much of this do we want to, because there is currently one building that is occupied. The rest are vacant. So I can safely say,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Kim.
I can safely say that I know of two buildings for sure that are coming down. There's also two buildings towards the front that are extremely suspect. They're probably coming down. That leaves one building unoccupied and one building that is occupied. So those are the ones I need to do a little more investigation into to find out, what the situation is. Then I'll bring contractors in.
Is the court documents that we were given, are they stated in the court documents what we are allowed to do? Jason shaking his head, yes.
I will confer with counsel.
Would you please?
Yes, absolutely.
So we don't get sued for
Nope.
that.
I understand. We
It-
want to
it-
do this the right way. We want to do it once and we want to
I wanna
recoup our
do it,
costs.
let's do it. You
We
just
wanna
can't
recoup
take
our costs, too.
bulldozers and take down everything. You're not allowed to do that, right?
Nope, that's
Okay.
part A.
I
Part
just
B
think-
is, that's an added cost too, that we may or may not recoup. So
Right.
I want to be clear.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay.
if the, sounds like this estimated cost could be significant, so I guess we have to consult with the comptroller or ourselves about what those limits are how you asked about the bid process, whether you can just go out and select 3 people and ask them for a quote, or whether we have to go to a published bid. So I think you're gonna have to get a off the top of the head estimate and determine where we're falling.
Okay.
There's dollar benchmarks that require bidding procedures. Yeah.
It's going to be over $30,000 and
It's going to be a large number. Now I have a couple contractors that I've been dealing with for the past 10 years who I could contact that, they'll come out and give me a ballpark. But there are so many they can give me a ballpark. Let's say we're going to take it down and there's no asbestos, there's nothing. We just have to take the building down and dispose of it.
Right, it's one cost.
That's a cost. They'll know what it takes to take it down. They'll know what the tipping fees, what the dump is and all that.
Right.
So that's a number. So they can give me a baseline, which I can come back with a baseline and say, this is what they're thinking with no added costs. And then if then we can decide, do we go straight out the bid? Do we just solicit 3?
So back,
We could always do the open bid. We should do the open bid.
Okay.
so can we have?
I've
this
never done
by
this, so I
February
need all the
6th?
input I can get.
Can this be calendared then for February 6th?
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, no,
we could be faster than that, right? If you're not going out to bid, if you're just gonna get some ballpark, you could probably do it quicker than that, right?
Do step 1 first, but go out and get some ballpark figures.
okay.
That we don't have
Back portion of that.
Okay,
And if it-
I like that idea.
okay, so then it's a modification to authorize the building department to develop a project budget based upon estimates from contractors. And also at the point in time, can you develop an estimate of the environmental inspection costs?
Mhm.
So that then we can further then define what the demolition costs might be based upon environmental contamination.
Can I ask another question? The highway department, are they allowed to contribute at all if it's considered unsafe and then?
Would you
the
like
board-
to ask, Frank?
Guess what? He threw you under the bus.
Okay, then my involvement has now been eliminated. Frank said he'll take care of it.
You know what? I just feel for the residents that have been.
I do.
Go for so long. So I'm thinking that since it's already been deemed and it's unsafe and everything, we have the court documents that say so. I'm hoping Jason can help us on this. And that if the highway department can come in and do any part of that, are we allowed to do that? That was my question.
They'll have to follow the same path. Get the information, especially environmental. Environmental,
But that can be one of the three proposals, correct?
have to be careful on.
Oh, that's right. We have that to worry about. Okay.
Mr. Petremol in the highway department previously had cleaned up 94 South, 95 North Drive in Glen Eyrie a number of years ago, which was a similar situation like this, and they also cleaned up the abandoned boatyard down in Eddyville. So to answer your question, Mr. Groot, the highway department is very capable of undertaking a project like this, and yes, in both instances, they saved the town's money. But we need to define the project to make sure that the town doesn't step in it. And as that, I mean, in 1974, the supervisor authorized the cleanup of a junkyard in the hamlet of Ruby. And in 2009, the town was presented with a judgment from the Environmental Protection Agency in the amount of approximately $150,000, which was the remediation costs of the cleanup of the junkyard where the scrap cars went to, because the operator of the scrap yard processed hazardous waste on the site, and it was a Superfund site. So we need to be careful.
Mhm.
Correct. So I would motion to withdraw the resolution as presented, and I will form a new motion.
As long as we can do it now.
Now, yes,
Good,
now,
okay. I don't want to delay this.
no,
I know what I gotta do.
no, I want you in the record, board authorization. So my motion is to withdraw the resolution as presented. Do I have a first?
Yeah.
Second, all in favor? Aye. I would like to make a motion to authorize the building department to undertake the construction of a budget for the demolition using both internal resources and external resources. And also to identify an environmental consultant in order to identify any environmental risks in this process to protect the town
And we'd like to ask that to be done as quickly as possible.
as expeditiously as possible.
That's a nice,
Okay, don't use big words. I got
as
problems.
long as Susan spelled it, okay. with it.
Okay,
Do I have, yeah, I have a motion and a second?
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, one last item.
I'm sorry, sir. For the Facebook audience. Okay. So we actually have a project that I am researching to see if it's eligible under the new program that we have. Where's Mary Jo? For the Lower Esopus. So what, Mr. Quigley, Supervisor Quigley has said that he thought that this might be eligible, that we request $50,000 for the preparation of a plan, map, and report similar to the mandate that the town board has given Briner and Larios for the proposed Cherry Hill Sewer District in the Glen Eyrie on the east side of the Esopus and Brigham Lane and the west side of the Esopus. So this new program that they're coming out with, that they're hiring this water coordinator for, I am gonna ask them if they would entertain this project, which when they get back to me, I will enlighten you and tell you all about it. Just so you know.
As a result of the 2010 DEP discharge of turbid water into the Esopus, the DEC fined the New York City DEP $3 million, which was put into a trust fund to be used for studying the Lower Esopus. One of the key points that the consultant identified in the Lower Esopus was that the water quality was adversely impacted because of septic from septic tanks getting into the creek with the germs and other viruses and everything else that's in the waste flow. The town of Ulster has the highest concentration of residential properties utilizing septic tanks for the disposal of household waste in the neighborhoods that were just described. So the proposal that we put forth, I think, clearly fits right down the center of the plate for a project that the county should deem to be worthy of funding that will benefit the residents in the areas that we spoke about. So with that said, does anyone have, I would like to make a motion to authorize Mr. Groot to pursue this matter directly with the committee, not wait until January to authorize it. I'll make that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Just
Thank
so
you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our scheduled agenda for tonight. I am more than happy to open the floor to comment on any topic that anyone wishes to address the town board on tonight.
Hello, Joy Ann Simmons, 318 Glenary Boulevard. The building inspector was up here. The only building that is occupied is a separate piece of property, which is the yellow house. All the other pieces, which is 9 pieces, are unoccupied. And you could get into any one of those buildings by opening a door or walking through the backyard, because they're all open. I received the resolution, and it says the property and cleanup, demolish the property completely, including all structures, not 3 structures, not 1 structure, all structures. Now, I know you have to get your proposals, which is fine, but I'm just hoping that it's not going to take another year or 2. So that's all I'm asking, because that one property that is occupied is not part of the problem. So that's all I have to say. And thank you very much for everything that you've been doing. So thanks. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I just turned it off. Okay. Good evening, town board members. I just want to take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I also want to thank you for your work. And I also want to thank you for changing your process. I have learned a lot by coming to your pre-meeting. And I really appreciate, the discussions that you do have. I also appreciate the fact that you are getting more and more inclusive to the residents of the town, and I appreciate the democratic process, and I look forward to continuing in 2025. Thank you. Hello again. I sent an email on December 10th that nobody answered me, so I'm here because of that. And it was about board and committee appointments. We have heard that it's difficult to get people interested in participating in our various town boards and committees, and we are seeing so many of the same people appointed repeatedly. It would be nice and also very beneficial to the town to get some new people appointed to these positions. I would like to recommend, or we as Town of Ulster citizens would like to recommend 3 things. To make descriptions of the boards and what they do, along with board member responsibilities and commitments, and make that available on the town website. To create and have accessible forms for community members to complete if they are interested in one of those positions, so that you could have them on file when you're seeking new people. And to use the town newsletter that our town clerk sends out to solicit interest when it's time to renew these positions. I think with educating the community and the residents that we could draw from a very different pool. And we'd find people that are really interested in these positions and make these boards more diverse and representative of the community that we are. So I just would like to make that suggestion. And I also would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and thank you for the transparency that we have seen that has grown over the course of this year. And we look forward to more of that in 2025. And I have to also say something to the audience that we've grown the number of people that are coming out and participating. And Town of Ulster Citizens is all about creating and fostering civic engagement. So I also have to applaud the people that are here in this room and to thank all of our department heads for all the work that they do for keeping this town running. So I wish everybody a happy holiday. Thank you. And one question about the lights and update that's out here in the parking lot. No, not the new one.